Hey everybody, we are live. Let me see if this is the good angle. Hello, I am waiting for Kevin the Visionary to join me. Kevin is an ex-vegan. Hey Kevin, awesome. You're so quick, you joined. And he's an ex-vegan turned carnivore, and he is dedicating his platform to share the truth about nutrition. Okay, sent a request. Let me accept Kevin's request. Go live with. So, hey Jonathan, yo, what's up? Hi Kevin.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. I can see you perfectly. Thank you so much for doing this.
You are welcome.
So, let's see. I guess we can go ahead and just share with my audience a little bit of your background. Give us your history. I know you were vegan and eventually you turned carnivore. So can you share what that experience was like and how it has shaped what you're doing these days by spreading the message and putting in a good word for the carnivore diet?
Sure. So do you want me to go, because I know you're going to have other questions. Do you want me to go to the beginning, or do you want me to just kind of go
We can,
from,
no, we can start from the beginning.
okay, yeah. So I was plant-based. I don't say I was vegan because technically
Okay.
I'm vegan. I was plant-based. And
Okay.
so I had went plant-based twice.
Mm,
The first time I watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives.
right.
And yep, and that convinced me that meat and dairy was the devil and I needed to get rid of it. And I did.
Hmm.
And then I ended up going back to eating meat and dairy again.
Hmm.
And then fast forward, I ended up developing a lot of health issues.
Hmm.
And
Okay. Can you share what kind of health issues?
yeah, so it started with, lower back pain, really dry and itchy skin. Like whenever I would take a shower, I get out the shower, my skin would itch. I mean, I'm talking about like not regular itching. I'm talking about to the point where I'm like scratching myself because where it's bleeding and like lotion doesn't help. I mean, it was bad.
Wow.
I was severely inflamed. I had developed brain fog, dizzy spells. I had blood in my urine.
Mm,
That was a big one. I had arthritis in my shoulders,
mm.
erectile dysfunction.
Really? That's
Yeah,
a big one. Listen up, men. Yeah.
listen up.
And ladies. We don't want that either.
So,
Yeah.
those pills that they give you, they're temporary fixes. They don't deal with the underlying root causes.
Exactly.
And so one of my friends suggested that I look into this herbalist, this
Mm.
slash herbalist, and I was desperate at the time. I went to the bathroom one day, and this is
Yeah.
the ultimate desperation came in, right? So I went to the bathroom one day to urinate, and
Yeah.
thick, dark chunks of blood came out of me.
Wow.
But it wasn't just the fact of the thick, dark blood. It came out so strong and so heavily that
Yeah.
I had it all over the walls, on the floor, on my legs. So I didn't know any better. I thought I was dying, right?
Of course.
And so I'm thinking like I'm bleeding out, like this is it, it's over, like my knees got weak. I'm like, what is happening? I'm trying to stop it, but it's coming out so fast that I'm,
Yeah.
oh my God. So, but I didn't feel, it was like a relief though. It's the weirdest feeling. After it happened, it was like,
Hmm.
and so I got on my phone, I started Googling, blood in the urine, and people were saying you have AIDS, you got
Cancer. Yeah.
I'm about to
Yeah.
die.
Never go to the internet when there's something wrong
You
like
know?
that. Yeah.
And so I got a doctor's appointment, went to see my doctor. They took
Okay.
blood samples, they did CT scans, they took the camera, they went inside of me. I saw
Hmm.
all the specialists, and they sent me home with no answers.
Okay.
One doctor said, I've seen this before, but I don't think you have anything to worry about. And the other, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What? There's blood coming out in chunks explosively when you're peeing, but there's nothing wrong with you, according to that doctor.
Nope. The other doctor said, he went in with the camera and he said, everything looks good. He said, sometimes those things just happen. Yes, I'm not
You know,
up.
I
Like,
believe you just because I went through the mainstream medical, thing with my skin. Like I believe the craziness that happens there. So I believe you, but it's just shocking.
yep. He said, you don't have anything to worry about. I don't see anything. He said, sometimes these things just happen.
That's
Now,
code for I don't know what the hell to tell you. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
and so after doing my own research, I find out that blood in the urine, it means that your kidneys aren't working properly because your kidneys is supposed to take the blood in, separate the blood from the water with the impurities and all the bacteria and all the bad stuff, and that's what you urinate. And it's
Yeah.
supposed to put the blood back into your body.
Yeah.
Well, my kidneys aren't working properly. So how come a doctor couldn't tell me that? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Out of my desperation, that's how I got into plant-based the second time.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you went plant-based first time. You did have the lower back pain and all that kind of stuff, but then when you stopped, eventually that thing happened and that pushed you to go back into plant-based thinking that's gonna improve your health?
So I didn't have any health issues the first time. I just
Oh,
did it because a friend of ours suggested it. We watched it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, throw everything out." And
right. So why did you stop doing plant-based the first time around?
I just
Right.
started eating again, just no reason, just
Right.
started eating meat again. And it wasn't until years later is when I developed all of the issues in my body.
Got it. So the second time around is when you started having you had the blood in the urine instance, and you were already having the back pain throughout that whole period. But the thing, the thing that pushed you to go back to plant-based is having the blood in the urine. And then what happened when you went plant-based the second time around? For how long did you do it, and how did that end?
So it was a total of about 2.5 years.
Okay.
The second time. So total altogether, plant-based was about 5 years. But the second time was about 2.5 years. And initially, I felt great.
Mm.
The ED went away, the back pain went away, the arthritis went away, a lot
Mm.
of stuff went away. So I'm like, yes, this is it. But the dizzy spells continued, the
Right.
foggy headedness continued, the
Yeah.
memories and forgetfulness continued. I started developing really dry and flaky scalp
Yeah.
and dry skin and different, like dry patches, different parts of my body. So those things stayed.
Right. Okay. And what pushed you eventually to change? Hey, Sierra, thank you for joining. What pushed you eventually to change your and the second round of plant-based fun?
Um, Dr. Shawn Baker's wolves, as I called them.
Okay.
So what happened was I was teaching about plant-based, teaching about health and anatomy and stuff. I was learning a lot about the body on my platform on my Instagram. So I was
Okay.
videos and posts and stories about health, but on the plant-based side.
Okay.
A lot of stuff that I was talking about now that I understand was really like uneducated and it was not right. And
Yeah.
so it was a Saturday morning. I woke up to my notifications like just going off, just like bing, 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 bing.
Okay.
So I'm like, what's going on with my phone? So I look at my phone and I have like 150 messages. And so I'm going through the messages. I'm like, oh, maybe one of my videos went viral. Because
Right.
scrolling, it's just like bing, bing, bing.
Right.
And so I'm scrolling through the messages trying to figure out what's going on. I couldn't find the video. So I'm like, something's not right. Why can't I find my video in my mind? I'm going viral. Like, why I can't not find the video? And Dr. Shawn he recorded my video and put it on his page. So it wasn't actually my video.
Oh, okay.
So all of his people were commenting on that video saying, you don't know what you're talking about, and at first I'm offended.
Hilarious.
These I'm like, these people don't know what first of all, I never even heard of Carnivore, right? No clue. It wasn't even on the radar. So I'm like, these people they're nuts, they're insane, they don't know what they're talking about. So I'm deleting people, I am blocking people, deleting comments. And yeah, I mean, it was like a nightmare. And so eventually, a young lady by the name of Deliberately Cali gets my attention, and she's like, hey, listen, can I send you some information? Can I just send you some documentation, some information? I'm like, sure, why not? I'm rolling my eyes like, I probably won't read it, but I'm the type of person that I like to be informed.
Right.
I just read it. And so she sent me a video of a lady named Janelle, and she has a YouTube channel, and she's an ex-vegan.
Okay.
And she told her story about how she was vegan for 5.5 years, all the negative repercussions that came along with that.
Right.
And so as she was naming stuff, I'm like, wait a second, I'm dealing with this, and I'm at 2.5 years. So I'm saying to myself, wait a second, if I keep going, what's going to happen? And so
that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then I started reading all the information she sent, and I was like, I'm in trouble.
Wow. This is amazing. I guess, Sean's method is working, I guess. See, for me, I don't ever like initiate anything negative against a person unless they come at me, like my last post right now, somebody is like commenting on my post in a negative way, then I'll blast them, but I'll never initiate anything, but I guess that works. That's good, and I know that's Sean's style, and I'm so happy that actually led you to be aware of the carnivore diet. And why don't you tell us now what happened when you went on the carnivore diet, and how did that improve your health?
Yeah, so I want to say that was a Saturday. I saw the information maybe that same day, and I read it through that week. And so the following week, I'm like at work, I'm just battling with these thoughts in my mind because I'm like, look, I got this community of people, and I have to tell them that I'm wrong.
Right, right.
And so this is like the worst conversation mentally ever, right? And so I'm going through this and I'm battling through this the week. And I think that following weekend, or maybe it was that Thursday, I decided to say, hey, listen, I think I'm wrong, but I'm not sure.
That was pretty quick. Most people resist way longer than that. It takes them way longer to open up their mind to such a completely different paradigm.
Yeah, well, that's my personality. I'm a truthful person. I don't like foolishness. I'm one of those people where like it is what it is. If I make a decision, that's my decision. You can't persuade me. Show me some evidence. And so I had to say something. And I thought like everything was over. Like I even told Dr. Shawn, I was like, listen, my Instagram's done, my business is done. I'm like, I don't even know where to go from here because I have to say something. I have to tell the truth. And a lot of people.
You were in contact with Dr. Shawn after he took that video of yours and posted it. I'm sure everybody blasted it, right? So how did you talk to him?
I just reached out to him and say, hey, listen, I wouldn't mind. This was like maybe like a month after I decided to put myself on the 30-day. I started to eat meat for 30 days and tell my followers, like, listen, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm going to eat meat for 30 days and see how my body feels. So that's kind of where it started. I just came out, I told them I think I'm wrong, and this is what I'm going to do. And a lot of them was like, man, don't do it. You're crazy, meet this, meet that. So I lost a lot of followers, and
Oh,
a lot of people called me dumb and stupid. And so, yeah, it was rough for a little while.
oh wow. Well, that's very courageous on your part to tell everybody that you're gonna start eating meat and experiment and knowing that you are going to lose followers, and you did obviously lose some followers. So that's highly courageous, which is something that is very, very difficult to find that I'm seeing in most mainstream doctors.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll just instead of like going and looking at their biases, they'll tell you like what they said, like you're probably fine. It's fine. There's blood coming out of everywhere. It happens, you know?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, so you did the 30-day eating meat, and then what happened?
What happened was my dizzy spells went away. The memory fog or the
Mm,
foggy headedness went away. The mental clarity came back.
wow.
Yes. My energy came back. That was a big thing. I had like really low energy. I would always say, I want to go to the gym. I want to start back working out. And I would come home and I would be done. Right.
Right.
So I started going to the gym. Uh,
Mm,
Now I'm going to the gym for about 4 or 5 times a week. Started
wow.
working. And so during those 30 days, those things happened. The dry scalp went away. It's still not fully recovered,
Mm,
but a lot better than what it was. And I can literally feel my testosterone increasing.
mhm.
So those are the things that happen within the 30 days.
Okay. And was it pure meat that you ate, or did you like just focus on eating more meat, but you kept some other plant foods?
Yeah, initially my body was craving because I was juicing a lot. I was eating a lot of fruits, and initially my body was craving the fruits and the juices. So I did like once or twice a week. I would still juice or buy some juice.
Right.
I would eat potatoes and different things like that initially.
Okay. And then you saw the light, the stuff went away, the dizziness went away, you had energy, and then what happened?
So after the 30, I knew that I was going to continue doing it at like the 20th day, but I didn't say anything until like the 29th day. And so
Okay.
I said that, I'm going to continue doing this because I feel, I explained everything that I just explained. And I'm like, hey, listen, I feel amazing. I hadn't felt this way in years. And so I'm going to continue to do this.
Fantastic. And did you lose more followers at that point?
I did, but I gained, some from Dr. Shawn, and then other people who heard the story, saw what was going on, and they kept in touch. And so it was kind of encouraging because at
Mm,
first it was negative. At least I thought it was negative. But when I go back, hindsight, I see that they were really was trying to help.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, how long has it been now that would you consider yourself a carnivore now? Like, how's your diet right now?
So I wouldn't quite say I'm a carnivore because I'm not a strict carnivore. I still eat potatoes sometimes, or I'll do some pancakes. I eat um, um, some muffins or something every now and then. A cupcake, not a muffin, a cupcake or something. But 90% of my diet is meat and dairy, and I do
Okay. Yeah.
dairy.
Say that again.
I do include dairy.
Right, right. Yeah, me too. Yeah, so you're animal based. I think the vast majority of us are animal based. I only see strict carnivores when there's an autoimmune situation, and even sometimes with autoimmunity, I feel like when you're animal based, a lot of the times it goes away. But for some people, they have to be a little stricter and they have to take away completely any, like no cheats and none of that stuff. But I think that's very helpful to share with people so that they don't feel intimidated thinking that they can never touch a carb forever, and if they do, everything will be lost. It's not like that. You're still gonna probably get 95% of the benefits just by going animal based, and just allowing your body to get all its nutrition and not be in such a state of inflammation from all the plant toxins at every meal every single day of your life. So that's great. And how long have you been doing that animal based diet?
It's been about 6.5 months, I believe. I need to go look because this is like you're like the third person that asked me that here recently, and I'm like, I think it's 6.5 months, but I need to make sure. It's somewhere around there though.
Around that ballpark. That's fantastic. So what is it that you do right now? Are you mainly doing content creation, or do you have a full-time job and you do the content, the brand, on the side?
Yeah, I have a full-time job and I do the content on the side. Yep.
Yeah. And how long have you been on social media?
I want to say, let me think. It's been about a year, I believe, roughly.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic growth in just 1 year.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
And you started it just to share, was that your personal, Instagram, or and then you converted it into like a business profile, or how did you do that?
I want to say I started it off with a business profile because my idea was to teach people about what I was learning and how I, help my body overcome and stuff like that, and do videos about those type of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the idea, the original idea.
Would you say it was easier to grow with a plant-based narrative versus now with the carnivore? Do you see a difference in growth and getting followers since you've been on both ends of the spectrum?
Well, I think you have to look at, for me, I had to look at the difference. The difference is when I was on a plant-based, I was kind of on my own. I really didn't collab or deal with anybody else outside of what I was doing.
Right.
Now I am collabing, I'm doing interviews, doing lives with other people. And
Yeah.
it does make a difference when you have other people's platforms per se.
Right. So you can't compare because of that. That's a great point you just made, because it took me like maybe a year or two to get my first, probably 2 years, to get my first 1,000 subscribers, for example, on YouTube. And then Lily Kane, Lily, if you ever watch this, I'm going to save this and I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel. So if she ever watches this, it's a shout out to Lily Kane. And she actually messaged me to interview me on her channel. And her channel was bigger than mine. I think she had like 17,000 at that time. And I was like, okay. And then I remember messaging her like, should I get a webcam? Like, and she's like, I can't help you there. Sorry.
Right.
So I was like, I had never collaborated. The thought of collaboration hadn't even crossed my mind. And then the moment we did that first interview and she posted it, I got 2,000 subscribers in literally 1 week. So it was like, it took me 2 years to get 1,000 subscribers. And then in 1 week, I got 2,000 subscribers. I was like, okay, that's it. I need to start collaborating. And that's what I started doing. And you definitely grow so much faster that way.
Definitely. And, it's about awareness also, because, it's one of those things where I might tell my story a little bit different than you might tell your story. And
true.
I really like that aspect because, all the different content, even though a lot of them are saying the same thing, they're coming from perspective and everybody relates differently. And so you might say something and somebody might not get it, but I might say something and they might get it, and it might, vice versa. And so it's one of those things where that's the awesomeness of us all being individuals.
100%, because you can see yourself sometimes in certain people. You can connect with them more, so you're paying attention more to what they're saying, and maybe you see similarities in your lifestyle with theirs. So I agree with that 100%. And I think this is why, you know, it's so important to always stay true to yourself. Like, you know, different people, for example, in the carnivore community have different interests. And as long as you keep those and you don't try to change to fit what you think everybody wants you to be, and you just stay true to yourself, actually, you get to grow faster and connect and have a bigger impact that way. Because, like, for example, for me, it's like the fashion, the beauty, the lifestyle stuff, not just the carnivore. And I have women, you know, they'll message me and they're like, we love that you are truly yourself and you do those photo shoots when they have wigs on and like, you know, like completely, completely lifestyle and fashion stuff. And you don't see that a lot as a doctor. You know, you don't see that a lot in this as a science person, because a lot of women feel like they won't be taken seriously, and unless they look like a nun or very close to a nun, then it won't work. And maybe, you know, maybe that might have in the short term a little bit of an impact. Maybe some people might not be interested in hearing what you have to say unless you look a certain way, what they have in their mind as a doctor is supposed to. But I think in the long term, you never win. In the long term, if you try to change who you are, especially if you don't think it's right, you know, if you think like if you're a serial killer, change, you know,
Right.
but if you think you're doing the right thing and you like it, you know, if you don't change and you stay true to who you are, you end up inspiring far more people, and that gives you more motivation, energy to stick with it in the long run. And that's really how you become successful. And now I get, you know, messages from a lot of people in the community. It's like, we love that you are truly yourself and that you're authentic and that you don't care. And we're, you know, and I know that they love it because they're constantly commenting, connecting with me, and constantly consuming, you know, what I'm putting out. And so that's kind of like my people. They're not going to connect to maybe the Dr. Shawn Baker or somebody else. It's like a little bit too different, you know, or they're not that interested in that style. So we all have our group of people. And as long as you stay true to yourself, you will find your tribe. And yeah, that's really, really important.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you know, there's 1,000 different restaurants. You go down one street and there's, you know, 50 restaurants and they're all full. Why? Because people like something different. Like, we're not, you know, you're your own individual, I'm my own individual, and there's somebody that needs what you have and there's somebody that needs what I have. So it's really good, especially when you're eating right and your brain's functioning and your body's functioning, you'd be the best you.
Yep, 100%. Love it. Okay, let's talk about exercise. Do you work out? How's that part of your life structured?
Yeah, so currently I'm working out about 4 days a week roughly. I'm trying to be consistent so I can get to a year mark. I set goals for myself, and so yes, I am working out. Um, Pretty much no cardio, just all strength training.
Okay. And how is your schedule? Like, do you have a Monday to Friday 9 to 5? And then like, how do you fit everything in that you're doing?
Ooh, it's
Are you getting enough sleep?
focus and being committed. So yeah, I work Monday through Thursday, and so you know I get off at 5 o'clock. I get home, you know, whether I cook or I might cook after or get something to eat out, but I'm doing my social media stuff, and then I'm going to the gym around 7, and so it's a lot to pack in there, but it has to be done.
Yeah. And that's great that you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, where you can do whatever you want. You can focus on social media. Do you have a YouTube channel, or are you mainly focused on Instagram at the moment?
So yeah, I don't have a YouTube channel, but that's something that I literally was just talking about, and I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think by the end of this weekend, I'm gonna have a YouTube channel.
If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay.
I think it's a great thing to have, and I think you can grow much quicker. At least maybe I don't know. It was my experience that growing my YouTube channel growed, not growed,
Mhm.
grew grew my Instagram. So I don't really have like a strategy for my Instagram. My Instagram is more of like what I'm eating every day, if I'm working out, like just random stuff, but I don't have like a strategy to grow it. But it's been growing by itself simply because my YouTube has been growing. There's something about YouTube where people can connect with you because it's a deeper level of interaction when you're watching a full video with somebody as opposed to just one picture. You know, like you just see it and it doesn't take up much of your time. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend it. And then of course the collaborations, especially as you're just starting out. Like right now for me, I'm noticing that I have some videos that do really well and they'll get me a ton of subscribers as if I had collaborated with someone. So for me right now, I don't necessarily feel like I have to collaborate, but at this start, I think it's a really important to collaborate and do more interviews with others.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely be reaching out to you because I think I'm getting ready to interview someone, which I'm contemplating on whether I want to do a live or do an interview for YouTube. He has an amazing story, and so I'm excited about it, and I think I'm going to use that to be the first video for my YouTube channel. So I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of playing around with some things.
You can do both. So if you want to like do something where if he has a lot of followers, for example, on Instagram, it would be wise to do an Instagram live with him so that people like on his audience sees you in real time, right? And then you can save that and then publish it as a YouTube video as well, you know, but it'll be vertical. It's not going to be, you know, like horizontal the way YouTube wants it to be. But I will still see the same kind of engagement and likes even with my Instagram lives that are reposted on YouTube, because I think in this specific topic, people are just interested in learning about carnivore. They're just interested in the information, not so much about, you know, we're not doing a lifestyle, fashion, or entertaining video where it's about dopamine and how you edit it. You know, it's not about that. It's more about just people sometimes will just put in, just want to hear it. They don't even care to watch it, you know?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I do that sometimes too.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's my first advice to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So what would you like to tell people who are vegan, or I know you weren't completely ever vegan, but you know, plant-based. So what would your message be to those who are vegan or plant-based? And yeah, I guess that's the question. Generally speaking, what would your advice be?
Well, one of the footholds or strongholds that the plant-based and vegan community has on the minds of a lot of people is that meat and dairy causes sickness and disease. That is huge. That's how I got hooked, and that's how thousands and thousands of other people are getting hooked. Meat causes mucus in the body, and meat causes colon cancer and all types of stuff. So first of all, let's educate you on mucus, because that's a huge one. There's this thing about ridding the body of mucus or getting mucus out of the body. Yes.
There's one way you could do that. Die, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you don't understand anything, I want you to listen to what I'm saying to you. The body produces mucus 24/7. Okay? You cannot get rid of mucus in the body. Mucus is in your mouth, and you're swallowing mucus 24/7. Mucus is responsible for capturing bacteria, hair follicles, dust, all types of stuff. Okay? So it starts in the mouth, goes down the esophagus, it's in the stomach, it's in the intestines, it's in the colon, it's everywhere. Okay? Mucus is needed in the body. It's a protective mechanism to help you survive. When you see a buildup of mucus, that is simply your body trying to compensate or help you because there's something going on. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, right? It is normally temporarily. So the concept of ridding the body of mucus, oh, and I forgot to say that mucus is responsible for helping you digest your food because it helps the small intestines move back and forth. It's responsible for a whole bunch of stuff. So trying to rid the body of mucus is uneducated, is unwise, and you should not fall for it. Now tell me how did I do okay with that one?
Fantastic. Spot on.
Okay, the second thing is meat. Meat rots in the colon. Meat causes, yeah.
Yeah.
I read an article by Dr. Sebi, and the melanated community, they because we have been inundated with a lot of stuff, we hold up this guy, right? And he's revealed the melanated community as a doctor who helped people heal their body and stuff. We know he wasn't a doctor, but he goes by Dr. Sebi.
Okay.
And he's quoted in the article saying that meat does not digest in the body and it rots in the body. So let's talk about how meat gets processed. When meat goes into the stomach, the stomach acids convert it into a liquid form or mesh-like format. Not quite liquid, but it's like a mesh-like format. Then it goes into the small intestines. The small intestines is responsible for about, 60 or 70, maybe 80% of nutrient absorption. And so because meat doesn't have a cell wall, it gets absorbed predominantly by the small intestines into the body or the bloodstream. The fats goes into the lymphatic system. When whatever's left over is a very minute amount of sludge or stuff that goes in, that makes its way into the colon, and then it goes out of your body as feces. Meat cannot or does not get stuck in the body. So these are lies. These are made up, fabricated things to scare you into believing that these people are authority figures. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the fact that they have helped people heal their body from all types of issues, but the reason why they're able to do that is because when you stop eating processed foods and all the junk, you're giving your body a break, and that's how the body is able to heal itself. The herbs doesn't heal the body heals itself.
Exactly. When you take out the junk, it's always going to improve your health, right? Because eating anything other than the standard American diet will always improve one's health for the most part. For some people, they need more than that. But this is the problem with nutrition science. It's like 99% of nutrition studies are literally just comparing somebody on a terrible junk food diet versus somebody who's eating more or less sensibly, whereas it's not like Reese's every day, And of course, we know like what the answer is going to be. I do have a question. I just realized that I saw a little notification and I haven't been clicking on it, so I don't know. Sherbil, are you there still? He's asking, is it easier to cook food for vegan or carnivore? Well, even if it were easier to cook food for vegan, you wouldn't want to do it because you're just going to be forever nutrient deprived, not to mention the onslaught of plant self-defense molecules or plant toxins that you will be exposed to on a regular basis. So it shouldn't even be that question like what's easier, right? But it is much easier to just grill a steak as opposed to all the different foods that you would have to choose from on a vegan diet and plant-based diet.
Correct. I agree. Much
Yep.
easier.
What?
I said I agree. Much easier.
Right. You wouldn't even have to cook. I mean, literally just go to any fast food place and just take away the bun. You can just have their burgers. You can even have cheese if dairy doesn't give you an issue. And I think if you're transitioning to carnivore, it's a good idea to just keep the cheese in because you're still going to benefit immensely. Now, if it turns out that you are sensitive to the dairy, then we can just do the meats. You can do bacon. You can ask them for sides of bacon. Like you don't even have to spend time cooking if you didn't want to. It's the easiest diet on the planet, which makes sense. That's what gave us the evolutionary advantage to survive millions of years. If we needed to cook all these plant foods and first of all detoxify them and cook them, and somehow plant foods were around during an ice age, that's just hypothesizing that happened. somehow they were alive and around us, and we were able to eat them. We still have to detoxify them and cook them, and we'd have to eat so much more to get enough nutrition. So this is why you wouldn't have survived. And actually, if we go back in evolution, like far enough, we can see that a common ancestor of ours that actually did go vegan actually ended up being extinct. And then the other, the other offspring of that is the Homo genus, which gave birth to the Homo sapiens. That's the strain that decided that we're gonna hunt, and we survived, and now we're alive and breathing and giving opinions on what the optimal diet needs to be.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
And we have, let me see. I am Jay Shakil says, agree, my groceries shopping has never been so easy. Agreed, me too. And you can just now buy in bulk and save on money because you know exactly what you're gonna eat, so you can get them in bulk. And you know, not eating processed foods is a huge money saver, you know, because anything that comes out of a package is like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Things like that add up big time. Yep, let's go. Let's see, what else do we have? Let us know if you have any questions, everybody. And
Yeah, I did a remix on a video that I saw the other day that was shared with me, and the young lady was talking about how eggs have viruses and bacteria in it.
I saw that right before I came live. Because like, what is that? She like, I didn't have a chance to check her out. I couldn't find her profile. So please tell me, what was that about? It was hilarious.
Yeah, well, the thing is, this is part of the problem, that when you regurgitate information without really taking the time to look into it, this is what happens. You spread information and it's part true or half true, and it's not right, because
Yeah.
he's comparing scientists injecting viruses into eggs for experiments to eggs having viruses and bacteria in them. And I'm like, so the eggs that I got from my local farm has viruses and bacteria in them. How did the virus and bacteria get inside of the egg? That's what I want to know.
I think she doesn't understand that there are viruses and bacteria everywhere all the time. There's a gazillion like all over right now. It's not about that, right? And
No.
that's another major problem with our medical education and scientific education, is that we all focus on the germ theory of disease, which is that you get sick the moment you get in contact with some germ. And it's like, really, how come I haven't had the flu in over 10 years? Can you explain that? My husband hasn't had the flu in 10 years. Right? It's like all of these viruses and bacteria, somehow I dodged them all in the past 10 years. No, it's your immune system. But of course, to say that, we get censored, we get demonetized if we say it. You know, I can't even like go too much on that topic. You can't, I mean, the hashtag natural immunity was blocked on Instagram throughout the whole pandemic.
Oh, wow.
For like, yeah, it was like CNBC or MSNBC even have an article on it. You can just literally just Google it right now. The hashtag natural immunity was blocked by Instagram. And anything, I had a video on YouTube talking about how you can strengthen your immune system. So once the pandemic happened, right? Because I wanted to follow the trend. And the moment I posted it, by the next day, they took it down and they gave me a warning that I still see. Every time I log into my YouTube, I see it on my YouTube studio, which is like for the creators, like where it had the analytics and stuff. I see it right there. You have a YouTube warning. It's not a strike, but it's like the next time something happens, they'll give me a strike. You know, if you get 3 strikes within 90 days, they deactivate your channel, you're canceled. You can't even go back and start a new channel. Yeah. It's, you know, it's really, really, you know, it's a real problem. So Ketogenics 101 is asking, what are your thoughts on carnivore coupled with a protein sparing modified fast? So that's basically when you're just eating lean proteins. or PSMF. Here's a question: why would you want to do it? Let us know, ketogenics. Tell me why would you be interested in doing that? And it depends on if there's a specific reason to do that. We do want to stay away from lean protein only for a long period of time, because that could lead into rapid starvation, which is a very, could be potentially lethal situation because you need fats. Yes, we have essential fats that you absolutely must get from the diet. So yeah, let us know why would you want to do that. I think a big issue with the carnivore community is that a lot of them look at it as a hack, where it's like, I don't need to work out, I just need to eat meat and I'll be fine. And if you have 100 pounds to lose, yeah, that'll work. That's fantastic. But the vast majority of people, especially people who come to me, they try to, eat all that they want and not count calories or not work out, and they end up gaining a lot of weight. And they come with me and I was like, okay, a stick of butter has 800 calories. You can't be eating sticks of butter like that if you want to lose weight, And so my work is a lot of rehabilitation and teaching them the basics of how many calories are found in different foods, and, developing that awareness. And it's like, oh my God, it was just those tiny little minor tweaks that ends up giving us the weight loss that they want. And, they start getting motivated again, because you want to be healthy, but you also want to feel good. And excess fat on your body is highly inflammatory. It's not healthy. There's nothing healthy about gaining weight,
Right.
Yep. Let's see. Carnivore Loco. Thank you both for being here and spreading awareness. Great content from y'all. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Ketogenics 101. Let's see. Ketogenics 101. I'd like to fast, but don't want to lose muscle mass as I'm over 50. But again, why would you like to fast? Is it for anti-aging purposes? So having more muscle on your frame is probably one of the best ways you can slow down the aging process. I have a ton of YouTube videos on the importance of exercise. It literally reverses the aging process. The last video that I just posted is on that topic. So,
I think what happens, you hear a lot about fasting, even in the carnivore community. They talk about fasting a lot, and fasting is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So people, maybe he's trying to figure out, how can he try to fast, but at the same time keep the weight. You definitely can't stop working out. If that's what if you're gonna fast, you might want to do it for maybe a half a day or a day or something. But anything long term, if you're doing like a week fast or something, you're gonna lose muscle.
I agree. And I remember when the keto diet was first growing, like the trend, we were all into it. And then I realized, like, if you're also into bodybuilding, which I think everybody should be, because again, it's like the #1 determinant of how long you're going to live, your overall muscle mass and how strong you are, then maybe fasting might not be the best way, and pushing yourself to fast too much. But here's the thing. Fasting will often come naturally to people, especially if they have a lot of weight to lose. But then as they get super lean and close to their ideal body weight, you will be hungrier. And that's your body telling you it needs more nutrition. So I say fix the nutrition first. Give your body all the red meat that it craves. And then when you only focus on that, on the quality of the food, your ability to fast might come back, because you're giving your body enough nutrition so you won't feel hungry in the morning. But if you're trying to fast while still eating other foods that aren't as nutritious, so the problem is those foods that are displacing more nutritious foods, that's making you still hungry in the morning, So fix the diet first, and then I think the fasting will come naturally. Ketogenics, autophagy, as I'm a cancer survivor, but still worried. Again, Ketogenics 101, why don't you check out the interview that I did with Dr. Thomas Seyfried? So I interviewed him, and then Dr. Anthony Chafee also interviewed him. I think those two interviews are really, really important. So I'm sure you can find them on my YouTube channel and Dr. Chafee's, where we talk about what are the things that you need to do for cancer prevention and even treatment. Having that high fat to protein ratio, you want to be in that ketosis state. I know that Dr. Thomas Seyfried still doesn't go much into like the plant toxins. I would add to that, and I would say that yes, it's great what he's doing, but I would add to it that you also want to eliminate all plant toxins. You know, plants have an insane amount of natural pesticides and insecticides and carcinogens. You know, like one Brussels sprouts or broccoli or, you know, whatever it is. So I would stay away from those things. And yeah, I think autophagy would happen. Oh, by the way, autophagy is also triggered by having muscle mass. That's another thing about the video that I just posted yesterday. If you go back to my YouTube channel, watch that last video and read the article that is listed in the description box below, it talks about how exercise can help because it reverses the age of your cells. Your cell's ability to clean up itself, or autophagy, goes back and it increases. And so I would focus first on cleaning out the diet and only eating red meat as much as possible, high quality, high fat red meat, and lifting heavy weights. I think those are far more important than trying to stress the body to force it into autophagy when those basics aren't in place. I think once those are in place, the autophagy will happen. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Let's see. Okay, so I don't want to keep you too much. I know we didn't even discuss like how much time you have. It's 3:53. So is there anything that you feel we should touch upon that we haven't, or any advice or any last, you know, word you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, research. You know, don't listen to what I say. Don't listen to what you say. Don't listen to what anybody say. Research. If you hear us say something, go check it out. Don't just read one article or the first thing that pops up on Google. Look at multiple sources, because a lot of articles, a lot of stuff that you're going to read have bias connotation to them. They have agendas, they have specific things, point of views that they're trying to push, like you mentioned earlier. When you're looking at something, it's there because someone wants to, whether it's paid for, whether it's not paid for, there's agenda that they're trying to push. And we know that plant-based is heavy right now. Prime example, I posted an article the other day, and on the top, the first paragraph, it says that saturated fat is in, you know, things like butter and stuff like that, and the body needs saturated fat. But then the next article says, be careful because saturated fat hardens at room temperature and it clogs the arteries.
Because your body's at room temperature internally, right?
Exactly. Most people never even thought about it. So I went right back after I posted it and I made a reel and I said, hey, listen, room temperature is 68 degrees. The body is 98.6 degrees. How does saturated fat harden in the body? And a lot of people was like, oh man, I never even thought about that. And it's like, yeah, because we listen and we read and we don't put together. And so it's one of those things where, and plus the fats don't even go into the bloodstream from the small intestines. They go into the, what do you call it? The lymphatic system, and they get converted, and then they go into the liver, and then it makes its way to the bloodstream. So it's this whole notion of us not understanding anatomy and how things work, that we just believe anything. So yeah, that would be my
great point. Yeah, like read critically, and anything you don't understand, you know, you can Google little things here and there to increase your scientific understanding. Like, what are the basic components of a cell? How do these things work? Scientific literacy is so important in this day and age, you know. I think everybody should have a basic understanding of like just basic biology, basic physiology, and nobody will ever have the answer for you. You have to understand the basics so that you can decipher if that expert actually knows what they are talking about or not. You know, you have to understand the politics. You have to understand how the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics works hand in hand with the food companies. The food companies will pay thousands of dollars to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics to co-author brochures about dietary guidelines and about, about like how to, what's the best way to eat different foods. It's like, really, why would the food companies
Correct.
want to pay all this money to co-author brochures about healthy eating? Do you really think there is no ulterior motive there? Really? So you have to understand all those things. And that's the problem when you have $1 trillion food manufacturing business that has all this money that can fund the vast majority or a ton of nutrition studies. And they're only going to fund the researchers whose views on diet align with the sales of their foods. They're not going to give me any grant money.
Correct.
To study whether Kellogg's improves your health or not. I'm never going to be the person that they're going to choose, right? So they're going to go ahead and just choose kind of like useful fools, if you want. Those are, professors, PhDs, people who still are like, oh, life is great. I'm healthy, never had any health problem, and I eat plant-based, and it's working for me. And it's like they believe that stuff because they never had to go through something to critically examine whether that's right or wrong. And so those companies are going to be more than likely to support those researchers, right? And it's not like the researchers are obviously, evil, or they have this conspiracy, or they have this grand scheme to tell us the wrong things. No, it's just like they just never went through a health problem, and so there is no reason for them to change or critically examine what they've learned. They just learned the textbooks, they did great in school, they got the job, all is fine until they get 50, and then all of a sudden they're diagnosed with multiple sclerosis or something of that nature. Then it's like,
now we have a problem.
yeah.
I find that there's all these new studies coming out, right, on how the colon needs fiber because of the enzymes and the bacteria it's needed, right, for optimal health. New studies, not something that's been studied years ago, but all of a sudden these new studies that link fiber to optimal health. Come on.
Yeah. That's just lazy academic work. Let's just follow the herd. It is taboo to be a researcher in any academic facility and preach what I'm preaching. Taboo. Like I don't feel like I could ever get a job right now in a university anymore if I want to do research, because it's like a crime to think against what the mainstream is. It's like, and when I first started social media talking about, the carnivore diet, people that I went to school with, like PhD students, I think they've graduated now. Now they're professors. Unfortunately, they're nutrition professors. Well, one of them is exercise physiology, and both of those they're in the field because I did my doctorate in exercise physiology. So those two women also graduated from my same program. And so when I first started on social media posting about the pyramid for the carnivore diet, they were they came at me, berating me, like what you're doing is so unethical, and you have a responsibility to your audience, and of course, one of them is completely riddled with anxiety, massively overweight, acne all over, and she's coming at me, telling me that I'm preaching the wrong things when she clearly doesn't have anything together,
Wow.
So yeah, I just, block and delete. Well, first I like to destroy, then block and delete, because it's very easy to destroy the argument that is so clearly wrong, but yeah, don't mess with me.
Right, exactly. Especially if you don't really know what you're talking about.
But yeah, exactly. It's so easy. But because the only way you can be plant-based is you have a very superficial level understanding of nutrition, So you're already dealing with people that aren't that bright in their field. So
Right.
it's easy, it's easy to win those arguments. But yeah, it's, at the same time, you don't want to feel like you're being attacked by people who you thought were friends. Not that I ever thought they were friends, but like, you know, like, hey, and the hugs and like, you know, colleagues of mine, which I thought we had a good relationship. So, and to do it so publicly, it just shows how people are triggered, because I would never go to anybody, whether they're a colleague or not. I would never go on their social media public platform. That's their brand. I would never go and comment anything like, you know, what about this study? What about that? Like, if anything, I'll send them a DM, you know, if I really want them to, if I really think what they're saying is wrong and I want to push them in the right direction, I would send them whatever thing I'm thinking about as a personal DM. You know, I wouldn't go and blast them, whether they're a colleague of mine or even some people that I don't know. Like, that's just the way that I am, because I hate if somebody were to do it to me, you know?
Okay.
So that's just the way that I am. So this is why when people do it to me, like, they get a really strong reaction, you know? So
Amazing, you know,
yeah.
how, you know, the level of the things that people get away with, right? Because like you said, it's not that people are dumb or we're just uneducated.
Yeah,
And
that's because nobody, I mean, yeah, nobody's like dumb if you have a PhD, but like very low level of education in that field.
mhm. And
Yeah.
even like regular people who defend, like for instance, right? What I'm about to say it's gonna sound like it makes sense. So I hear people comment all the time saying that, why would you eat dead meat when plants are alive? You need you need to eat foods that are alive because your body needs foods that are alive.
Hmm.
First of all, once it goes into your mouth, the body doesn't know anything about alive or dead. All the body understands is the digestive process, which is breaking down whatever it is that you put into your mouth and absorbing it or eliminating it. The body has no clue what dead or alive is. But to get somebody to understand that, it's like, cool, you know, you're eating dead foods. It's like, what are you talking
Exactly, exactly. Or you know, or you have like the ethical argument against eating meat, you know, which is like, you know, plants as if somehow plants don't feel pain. And now we know like, there's so many studies that show that clearly plants not only feel pain, but they even talk to one another. It's like they just came out. It's like there's a lot of inconvenient truths there. Not to mention that you end up killing way more sentient or emotion feeling animals in the process of feeding a vegan or a plant-based diet,
Yes,
as opposed to just like one cow per person per year, that you would have to source really to get your nutrition. And at the end of the day, what's the point? Like, if your health is gonna suffer, you know, it's like if us as a species are going downhill with our health, like, isn't that the number one priority anyway? Nothing else matters, right? It's like survival of the fittest. Do you really think a lion is gonna stop before attacking and killing you? It's like
right.
it eats meat and that's it. You know, they're not gonna sacrifice their species. And now somehow we've convinced a bunch of people that we need to sacrifice our health and our species at the altar of, you know, so that animals wouldn't pause twice, you know, so that they wouldn't feel any pain. And it's just unfortunately the way that life is, you know, for you to live, another living being has to die. Plants are living beings, animals are living beings, and you know they have to die if you want to live. And it happens every day, you know, all the time. Watch some Discovery documentaries, you'll see all that fun.
Exactly. There's studies that was done about, you know, with plants, and
Mhm.
they took these plants and spoke negative words to them, and the plants withered and died. The other plants, they spoke positive words to them and they flourished. So
Oh
that
my God, I would love to see that study.
That's a prime example of what you're saying. These things are alive. They understand vibrations and energy, and all of that stuff matters. And then, something else that's interesting is, they use the plant-based agenda to say it brings you closer to your ancestors and you feel more like, yes, that's a
How?
huge right now. You're more in tune and connected to your ancestors and your spirituality. Let me tell you something. Ever since I started eating meat and dairy, I feel way more connected to myself. I'm more awake. I'm more cognitive. I mean, it's a total game changer. So what they were telling me that I'm supposed to get on a plant-based diet, I'm actually getting it on a meat diet.
Yeah, yeah. You need a fully functional brain to be connected to anything, to be in alignment. When we say also like listen to your gut, this is for me a big thing, listen to your intuition. Like you gotta have a clear-headed mind. You gotta be your mood should be regulated. You shouldn't be struggling with depression all day long and mood swings. Otherwise, you'll never be able to listen to your gut or to your intuition or to be connected with anything you believe in.
Exactly.
So yeah, and the number one thing is lowering inflammation. You can't lower inflammation while actively consuming plant toxins that increase inflammation.
Yep. And I always wonder why, I felt a certain way and the brain fog and all the dizzy spells and stuff is because I'm not getting, blood to be made properly in my body. I'm not getting the cholesterol and the fats that I need, which when you understand how the brain works or what the brain is made up of, the brain is fat and the brain needs fat. Also, the brain is very greedy, meaning that when you eat food, your brain automatically snatches a whole bunch of that nutrients and takes it away from you. So if you're eating plants and you're barely getting any nutrient absorption because the bulk of the nutrient absorption in plants happens in the colon, which is very little, and you do get some in the small intestines, but it's very little. So
Yep,
you're getting, let's say out of 100, you're getting 40% of nutrients and the brain needs 20%, the brain's automatically going to take a whole bunch of that off the top. So you're extremely nutrient deficient, and we people don't understand that concept.
exactly. Exactly. 100%. Yeah. I mean, people don't even link their mental health with diet, let alone what diet is best for your mental health. So many people just think, the first line therapy would be go to a psychiatrist and get on a pill and then increase the dosage of that pill and then do a combination of different pills because eventually they all stop working. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. And it just takes up so much of your life when you should be focused on your passions and like following what makes you happy and come alive as opposed to spending time trying to kind of going to med school, because your doctors don't know how to treat you.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, this was so much fun, so educational. I am so glad you found an animal-based diet. All kudos and thanks to Shawn Baker, even though he did it in his usual way, it worked. So, do you want to end with any last minute message, and also where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Kevin the Visionary, and Kevin the Visionary. The Visionary is one word with a number one as the second I. You can also find me at kevinthevisionary.com, where I have a book that I just wrote called, yes, it's on Amazon. You can find a hard copy on Amazon, and you can find a PDF on my website. And the book is called How to Instantly Improve Your Health. Very,
Hmm.
and so, yep, that's where you can find me, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Fantastic. And if you send me an email with the links, I'll post them underneath my YouTube. Because I'm gonna repost this on my YouTube channel, so I can link all of your social media and the book link and everything right under the video, so people can find it and find you more easily.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our little live here, and hopefully we'll do more of that in the future.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Have a good one. See y'all later.
Bye. See you. And let's see. How do I exit? Oh, okay. Okay. Did we end it? Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, everybody. Okay, let me figure out how to end this thing. Oh, here.